Welcome back to Evan's Repairs and Creations. This is the first episode of restoring this 1970s Fantic Motors TX3 mini bike. Let's do this. Alright, as I mentioned, this is a Fantic Motors Bronco TX3 mini bike, made sometime in the 70s, maybe late 60s. I'm not sure on that. More on the history in a minute, but let's do a walk around and show you all what I got. So up front, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot left of the original stuff on this bike, and it's not in the best shape. The previous owners weren't very nice to it. As you can see, there's some odd looking welds around here. This isn't factory, neither these little bars here, any of that. Also on the front forks, this is not the original fender. I mean, it doesn't look terrible, but it's a little big. This random piece of twisted rebar that's welded in is obviously not factory either, but these front forks look like they've taken quite a beating, because down here looks like they went over a jump or something and maybe cracked it or completely split that off. I'm not sure, but same thing over here. It's just not in the greatest shape. Fortunately, these are the original aluminum wheels and Pirelli tires, which are pretty cool. The tires have tubes, meaning they can still hold air. Same thing in the back. This mini bike has a scrub brake, so pretty much you press down on this and it scrubs up against your tire, I guess, and slows it down. Obviously, all of that's not in the best shape either. This would have had little foldable foot pegs, I believe right here and then over there. But for some reason, those are also missing, and there's a little metal bar welded in. It's also missing the original gas tank, obviously motor, and there would have been like a tool box of sorts hanging down here like the Hondas had, which is cool, but obviously that's missing that. And most of the factory parts are pretty much non-obtainable, which is unfortunate, but we're gonna make do the best we can. Obviously not the factory seat. The factory seat, kind of a banana style seat. It was like this, and then it kind of curved up and had a bit of a backrest. Pretty cool. I'll put up a little picture of the bike, like right here with the seat. Obviously missing original gas tank. This is, I believe, the original throttle cable assembly, but throttle cable is very sticky, not seized, but I'll have to get a new one. I'll get a new rubber grip there too. Anyways, pretty much my plans for this bike is to try to not fully restore it, but make it look really good. Like I said, most of the original parts are going to be non-obtainable. Fantic Motors is out of Italy. They're still around, and these bikes are pretty rare, so I'm just going to kind of try to source parts from around the web. And what I'm going to do, basically going to strip down the mini bike, clean up everything, clean the frame down to bare metal, primer, and then paint it. I'm going to grind and fix all of these. I don't know what I'm going to do about all of this. The front forks are going to be a whole different video probably. Wheels and tires. These are Pirelli tires, which is cool. I think I already said that. Pirelli is what comes on Ferraris, I believe. And as you can see, they're old, original tires, and they're pretty cracked up. Probably not going to use those. Probably going to take them off, get new ones. But we'll keep those because those are a piece of history. But yeah, it's cool that it has the original rims. Anyways, let's dive into the history of this bike a bit. All right, so I said I'd give you a brief history of this mini bike, and so here we go. So this mini bike was made by Fantic Motor. Fantic Motors started in 1968 in Italy, and they basically made like dirt bikes, and go-karts and mini bikes and stuff like that. And this mini bike, which is the TX3 from 1970, I believe, was part of the Bronco line that were branded and sold in America. Now this TX3 had a engine that was made by Aspera. Aspera is the overseas version of Tecumseh, or was. Tecumseh is no longer around, unfortunately. But yeah, this motor in the TX3 was a 172cc flathead engine that made only 2.8 horsepower from the sources I'm seeing. Now I'll put the picture of the mini bike like right here. So yeah, this mini bike was about middle of the way for the Bronco line. So I'm going to go over the other different Bronco bikes. So in 1970, Fantic Motors Bronco lineup included the TX1, TX2, TX3, TX4, TX6 Mini Cross, TX7 Mini Matic, and then they also had some other ones that were a little different called the Bronco BC4, Bronco TS4, and Bronco TC4, and they also had a Bronco Fun Cart. I'm just gonna basically focus on the TXs. So the TX1 was technically the highest, best mini bike you could have got from them in 1970. It featured all-around suspension, headlight, taillight, drum brakes in the back, and it had a motor that was the same size, but it apparently made around 4 horsepower instead of the 2. I'm not sure how that all worked, but yeah, it had a bigger gas tank, different shape gas tank, chrome handlebars, chrome fenders, a lot of chrome. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Then the TX2, which is one step down in, I guess you could say, trim level from the TX1. It also featured the chrome handlebars, the bigger, different shaped gas tank, and it also had that 172cc engine, but it only had about the same horsepower as that engine in the TX3, which means it made about 2.8 horsepower, 3 horsepower, somewhere in there. Anyways, the TX2 was just lacking the headlight and taillight and all-around suspension that the TX1 had, although the TX2 did have front fork suspension. It also didn't have the chrome. Moving on to the TX3, it was kind of the mid-range bike for the Bronco line. This one had a small gas tank, still mounted on top of the frame. No chrome. It had the 2.8 horsepower engine, pretty basic. This one didn't even have a drum brake in the back unless you got it in the Super version. The Super actually did have a drum brake in the back, but that is not what we have. We have the TX3 just normal, which has a scrub brake, which is what it is. It is what it is. Anyways, moving on to the TX4, it was getting a lot worse. I'll put it up again, picture right up here. TX4 had a lot smaller wheels and tires. Engine on the TX4 was the same engine as TX2 and 3, which means 172cc Aspera engine, only producing about 3 horsepower. This one, like I said, was a lot smaller. The gas tank was mounted on the engine. This one didn't get a tool kit like the other 3 did. Getting pretty basic here. Then we got the TX6 Mini Cross, which is really cool. TX6 Mini Cross was kind of modeled after like a maybe a Z50. I don't even know if those were around at this time, but it looks very similar to the Z50, if you ask me. And really cool. You can see in the picture, I'm not going to go over it a whole lot because this isn't even very similar to the TX3 that we have, and then the TX7 Mini-Matic. I'm not really going to go over the BC4s, TS4, TC4. Basically, I'm just going to say that they had a 50C Garelli engine manufactured by Agrati Garelli. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but whatever. They all had 50cc Garelli engines. Pretty cool. Then the Bronco Fun Kart was just a go-kart. Same engine, only making 2.8 horsepower. Anyways, Cars and Cameras might have had one of these on their channel. I'm going to check that out real quick. Okay, so in fact, it was not one of these, but it was similar. This one was a 1969 Morini 50cc two-stroke, which is not the same company, but I'll put a picture right here. It looks pretty similar to the ones in the Bronco line, like the TX6 Mini Cross. Looks really similar. Pretty cool, honestly. Yeah. Anyways, that was your brief history on the Bronco line of mini bikes and go-karts from Fantic Motors. Let's get back to the restoration. All right, now that you guys have learned a brief history of the bike, I'm going to begin the tear down. First thing I'm going to do, we're just going to take the front forks off. I'm going to take the rear tire off, seat, and then I'm going to take the frame outside and really scrub it down. And try to get as much of the paint off as possible so we can, start working from there. So let's do that. Front forks are going to come off first, and I'll do that and then catch back up with you guys. So to get these front forks off, first thing you have to do is unscrew this. This is the same way on like this mini bike over here, and this one as well. You can't really see it as well on this one, but basically there is this very long bolt goes through, and then down on the bottom here there's a little nut that's welded to this piece of the front forks, and basically this guy here unscrews. We're lucky this plastic isn't stripped or anything because of how old it is. It doesn't spin on the metal. So there you go. So as you can see, there's the front forks. That's our little pin, Fantic Motors pin that goes through onto there. Pretty neato. And then this is just our front of the bike right here. Like I said earlier, I don't know like how much of all this. I don't think any of this right here, this piece of metal, is original. I know this is factory going to here and this going up. Obviously there's some crappy welds that we will address later. But for now, basically, I'm just going to so I've taken front forks off. I'm going to get this throttle cable out of the way, and then I'm going to take our seat off and rear tire. Then we'll take this frame outside and scrub it down. Coming around here to the back tire, basically, this axle here has a nut on each side, and I'm just going to fit this wrench on here. There we go. This side screws like so. There's a couple washers, and then I'm not sure exactly. I believe this is for spacing of the axle. I guess maybe you can yeah, just space the axle with this guy. And over here, this might just pull out. I'm not sure. Whoops. So yeah, I'm gonna figure this out and then I'll get back to you. So I got this broke loose with a vice grip. This basically just pushes through the wheel. Should just come out with enough persuasion. There we go. As you can see, it's just axle is just goes right through the wheel. Pretty thin actually, and then it's got spacers on each side. So I'm just gonna finish pulling this out, and then we'll set the wheel aside to be cleaned separately, and yeah, then we will move the frame outside as soon as I get the seat off. All right, so another thing that needs to be done before we take it out there is taking this old chain off. Now this old chain, as you can see, is pretty crusty. Now I probably could get it to work with enough cleaning and lubrication, but I think we're just going to use a new one since we are trying to restore this bike. Now the way to get chain off, you have one of these tools. I don't know what it's called, just a chain splitter or something. Basically this pin just clamps onto your chain, and as you tighten it down, it pushes the pin in the chain out, and chain splits that way. So yeah, I'm gonna do that and get this chain off, get the seat off, then we'll take it outside to do some scrubbing. All right, so as you can see, chain is now split. I'm just gonna keep the chain. I don't know, there's probably gonna be people to say keep it, so might as well. It doesn't hurt me to keep it. So next thing to come off is the seat, and then we'll bring it outside to scrub. Add it to the pile. So just for fun, I wanted to see what was inside this seat. And it turns out it's actually like foam in there. Like someone spent way too much time making this seat. So now that we have the frame out here in the grass, you can see it's definitely not in the best shape. I mean, just like, look at that, ouch. And moving up here, like, that's not exactly what you want to see, like whatever this random pipe is. But anyways, got some tools here, and I'm basically just gonna sit and scrape away at, yes, delicious. It's kind of satisfying. Make a video out of that. Scraping nasty sludge off a ancient mini bike. Anyways, as you can see, it's been red, and there's like some orange, more red. I think black maybe was original, or red, or yeah, I think red was original, and then like blue. Oh look, another shade of blue. This bike has been around the block a couple times. So after a few minutes with that brush, the bike is for the most part like oil and dirt free. The next step is going to be like figuring out what to do with like the scrub brake thing, and then also sanding all this paint off and getting it down to bare metal. And then after we sand it down, we need to get up here up front and figure out what to do with all of this stuff. So yeah, that'll be what's next. All right, as you can see, I began sanding down the mini bike. It's looking pretty good. Using this guy to sand it down. Works well, barely have to touch it and it just takes it all right off. I'm gonna keep working, looking pretty good. Yeah, it shouldn't take too long, to be honest. So yeah, I'll keep working and catch up with you in a bit. All right, so as I was continuing to grind and sand on this bike frame, I noticed this. Yeah, that will help back up my idea that this is not factory. So this arc here is not factory. And yeah, they just kind of tied it together with a bolt. Interesting. Yeah, you know, I guess it must have given it some good structure or something. Held it from moving out or in, I guess. Not quite my idea of good work, but I think this mini bike's been around the ringer a couple times. I mean, let's take a look at the scrub brake. Oh, yummy. So over here on the scrub brake, I don't know if I've shown this yet, but yeah, look at that. This is, I believe, to be the original scrub brake, or at least this piece is, because the welding on the top there actually looks like fairly decent. Versus on the bottom, yeah, that is very worn. Not quite sure how that even happens with rubber tires, but yeah, interesting. Yeah, I don't know, but bike's looking really good. It's cleaning up pretty well. I'm gonna keep sanding away and finish stripping it. So I've got the frame to a point where it's ground down really well, or sanded really well. Looks pretty good. If anyone's interested, here is like a serial number. I believe the 03 is for the TX3, obviously. And then 00751 is, I assume, the production number. Like it was a 751st made or something. Anyways, so you can see, there's really two things I haven't cleaned up on the bike. First of all, it's this. Well, I cleaned this part, so we're gonna reuse this part. But the actual portion that touches the tire, I am going to cut off and use a new one. Because as you can see, it's not in the greatest shape. Also around here on the front is this foot peg thing that the previous owners welded on. I'm going to take it off because obviously I don't want it. I'm trying to go factory here and that just kind of looks weird too. So basically I'm going to get the cutting wheel out and try to cut these welds as best I can without getting into the frame. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, other than that, like I said, this bike's been, you know, on the ringer. Like there's just welds all over this thing. Like all of this stuff up here. Whew. Just, I mean, some of the welds are like, yeah, that's not horrible. And then some of them are just like, what was going on? Anyways, yeah, like I said, I'm going to get the cutting wheel out, try to cut these welds down as far as I can without getting into the frame, and then smack it with a hammer until it breaks off. So let's do that. So with enough persuasion, this one did break off. I'm just going to grind all those down after I get this side off. This side, as you can see, is already splitting, so it shouldn't be horrible. All right, there we go. I got this side off too. And unfortunately, ripped a hole in the frame there. Not a whole lot I could do about that. It sucks, but I'm just gonna have to re-weld that and grind it. But that is, I guess, what we're doing next, because the paint doesn't get here for a little while, or at least the primer. Well, with some help from the welder and the sanding disc, that didn't clean up too bad. I mean, it's not perfect by any means, but at least there's not a hole in the frame anymore, and it looks halfway good. I might sand it a little more, try to get it looking a little smoother. But yeah, that looks pretty good. All right, so I've been working on it for a while, and you know what? I think this is probably the best I'm gonna get it. I mean, obviously it doesn't look perfect, but hey, I think it looks really good. You can't really even tell that there was, you know, a big bar welded on. You know, I think it looks pretty good. It's not perfect. There's a couple little spots, but for what it is, I think it looks good enough. You know, later I could come back with the grinder again and maybe grind it down just a touch more or something. But for now, I think that's good, because we really need to move on to stuff like that. And see what I'm gonna do about this whole mess here. And also, so like I said earlier, I'm gonna cut this off and then figure out what to do as a new one of these. I'm also gonna try to like fix that maybe and change it so it isn't like just a random piece of metal welded on, you know, I think it's almost time to move on to the front forks. So yeah, these front forks, they're gonna be fun to work with. The handlebars are fairly straight. Until there's a little bit of bend there. We'll work that out. Yeah, so down here is the main concern with the front forks, especially since there's like a hole there and like all of that. Not good, not what we want. Other than that, it just needs cleaned up and sanded. Might also, so I think I'll probably leave that rebar thing. But I will clean it up and make it look better. Anyways, other than that, I'm gonna move on and I'll show you what I get done with next. All right, as you can see, I've been working on this for a while. It's a bit of a slow burn. In here, I don't know how well you can see it, but it's really a mess. Like, it's a whole mess. And then I saw that in there, part of this pipe is just, there's just a hole. I don't know if they got it too hot and just melted it. Well, for comparison, there's my finger. So yeah, it's about the width of my finger. I'm gonna have to try to gap weld it. So this is gonna be interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna gap weld it and then I'm gonna come back and show you guys how it did. So yeah, let's see how this goes. Okay, so things are moving along here bit by bit. I've tacked this guy in, so this piece of metal that goes over this, like, basically I fabricated this piece of metal where there was basically a gaping cavern that did not look good. And I've kind of started to patch stuff up. It doesn't look the prettiest right now, but it will once I get it all buttoned up. So, you know, just trust the process, and I'll show you once I start getting things wrapped up here. So I've taken a break from grinding and welding on the frame for now, just for fun to see how these original tires clean up, because for being how old they are, they're not in horrible shape. And like they still have a bit of tread wear left and such. But the main reason is because I can't find 7-inch tires anywhere unless they're for like an ATV or a four-wheeler. I can't find 7-inch tires anywhere. So I don't know what they were thinking in Italy when they made this, and they were like, yeah, let's put the most random size of tire on here ever random size of rim. But anyways, I would like to keep these original tires, especially since I can't find new ones. But anyways, I'm just gonna kind of scrub these, give them a good scrub, and see if they will clean up at all. Because that'd be cool if they will. Obviously, I'm gonna deep clean the rims later, but for now, I'm just gonna try to focus on trying to clean up the tires. So yeah, I'm gonna do that and then show you the result. All right, so this front tire that I've washed turned out really nice. I've inflated it, and it's like not even really weather cracked at all. Like, it looks really good. You know, there's plenty of tread left. I mean, you can see a little bit of weather cracking, but really, it's not that bad. Now this one, the tire for the back, is the one I'm worried about, because both tires are inflated right now, and this one is the one that has the weather cracking. This is the one I'm really worried about. Now, obviously, not all the cracks are as big as like that one, and I mean, they're not huge, like, but it's not something you want. Now, yeah, obviously that's not good. And so what I'm gonna do, I don't know if I said this, first of all, this is without even any product of any kind. So I haven't put any tire shine or anything, any rubber rejuvenator, and that's the next point I was going to get to. After I clean both of these, I'm going to use some rubber rejuvenator stuff that might restore the tires a little bit and soften the rubber a little bit. I don't know how well it's going to work on tires this old, to be honest, but it is worth a try because I don't really have any other options at this point. Because, like I said earlier, there's really no 7-inch tires, and I'll show you on here. They are 7-inch tires, 3.5-7, 7-inch rims, and yeah, I can't really find any, to be honest. So really my only option is running these old ones. So next thing I'm going to do just like I did with this one, on this one, but I'm going to first take this sprocket off. Should just be these 6 bolts, and then after those come out, I will scrub it off and show you the outcome. Hopefully it is just as good as that one, but because of the weather cracking, I don't think it will be. I'm also going to let some of the pressure out to try to prevent any future weather cracking. Anyways, here we go. With some help from some penetrating fluid, this guy's off. All those bolts are right there, and they look pretty good. Yeah, real dirty in there, obviously, so I'm going to start cleaning it. That one is going to get brushed and maybe painted later, but for now, I'm just going to start cleaning this guy. All right, I've spent some time with the power washer. As you can see, it's a little wet, but yeah, this is starting to look pretty good. This side has some rust, but I'm just going to use some, I forget what it's called, rust reformer stuff. Here, Evapo-Rust. Evapo-Rust? Yeah, I'm going to use some of that stuff. Basically, I'm just going to pour it in here and let it sit. Not sure about the sides yet. Maybe I just like prop it like that and fill it. I don't know. I'm going to hit this wheel with the power washer now. Same thing with this side that has the knot. I believe the centers are aluminum, like this part and this part are like aluminum. And then this is steel here. That's why it's a little rusty. But yeah, I'm going to hit this wheel with the power washer and then try some rust reformer on them. All right, this is the rear wheel and tire. It cleaned up all right, not quite as good as the other one. Yeah, it still has that rust, which I will hit with the Evapo Rust. But yeah, I'm gonna keep cleaning this up, and I'll give you some more updates. All right, I've put Evapo Rust inside of the rims, and I'm gonna see if that will do anything as to getting rid of the rust. So we're gonna let it sit for a couple days and then come back to it and see if anything's happened. So as you can see, I got the Evaporust out of them. They've been sitting for a while, and they already look a lot better. So I'm going to start cleaning them up, and I'll show you how they turn out. As you saw, the first side of the wheels look good. So I went ahead and flipped them over and filled them with Evaporust. I also took this little syringe and filled up these little chambers along the outside because otherwise it would have overflowed into the center. But yeah, I'm going to let these sit for a couple days, and I will show you how they turn out. All right, while those wheels are sitting, I'm going to start working on the front forks here. There's a lot to be done on these, and I'm going to start off with just getting that fender out of there. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work on getting this guy, what I assume to be the original factory twist grip. I want to try to get it working while it's on the handlebars, because the cable that's on it doesn't seem horrible. But if I feel like I'm spending too much time on it, I'm just going to take it off, and then I can start getting all the paint off of these and stripping them down, and then I'm going to have to start with the grinding and welding process of these little axle mounts down here, because that looks horrible. Anyways, yeah, I'm gonna get the fender off, and then I'm gonna start working on that twist grip. So the way this original factory twist grip works is really cool. There's basically a top and a bottom here, and then this twist grip, this piece actually just sits on the handlebar. As if you clamp these together, this turns then. I haven't lubricated it or anything. I just took it apart, so it actually is in pretty good working order. Inside of here, you can see that basically there's just a bullet on your wire here that goes in there. That's what holds it. This just slides off the handlebar, as you can see. Inside of the twist strip, it's really cool. This is on the bottom here to tighten this. This is kind of a stop. So if so you don't over tighten the cable and run the risk of breaking something, I guess, when you're cranking on it for full throttle. On the top here, it's cool though. It looks like this is sort of a brake, or like, because when you tighten this up, it moves these little copper coated little, they're not solid, they're just little pieces of metal in there. It moves them up and down and can push on your twist grip a little bit and make it, I guess, so it doesn't spring back quite as easy or something, less slop. I don't know, pretty cool. Yeah, really smart way they made this. This one's in really good shape. So I'm just gonna try to clean it up and then get a new rubber grip for that, and then we can reuse it. Also, this throttle cable, I don't know if it's original or not, but it's in good shape. I mean, to be honest, moves pretty freely. I'll have to oil it a little bit, but really it's not too bad. But yeah, next step, with all that off, I am going to begin taking the metal wheel and clean this up to the best of my abilities. Well, gotta get this off too. You see it's green? Huh. I'm sure that's not factory either, but interesting. Anyways, I'll get that off too, and then we can start cleaning this up. I'll show you how it goes in a second. So I cleaned the inside up, took it all apart like I showed you, cleaned it up, and turns perfect. Real easy. So, yep. that's gonna work great. I'm gonna have to find a new rubber piece there for that, but that shouldn't be a huge deal. Anyways, I'm gonna take this apart again, and yeah, then we can work on getting this stripped. This is giving me one heck of a time to get off. I really don't want to just cut it, but at the same time, I don't know, it's gonna be difficult. Yeah, here's a little demonstration of what that thing does. So see how that's a lot harder. Turn that down, turns easy. Turn it up, doesn't move at all. Turn it a little bit back, moves with just a little bit of resistance. So yeah, it's pretty neat. Learn something every day. All right, cool, I'm gonna keep working. Well, unfortunately, I had to put a slice down the middle to get it to come out. I don't know. It would not budge. Yeah, now it's off. We can start cleaning up the rest of the forks. All right, so I have finished grinding this first bar of the handlebars, and turned out pretty good. You know, I'm just prepping all this for paint, of course. It doesn't have to look perfectly good. I just want it to be a fairly smooth surface for paint to adhere to, you know. I'm gonna go ahead and do this bar and probably this top kind of piece here, and then I'll catch back up with you. So cool. All right, as you can see, I've got both handlebars done here, and I've got this top piece done. Looking pretty good. I'm gonna keep working. Okay, the whole thing is ground or sanded or whatever you want to call it. Looks pretty good. Next thing is I have to address all this horrid, just absolutely terrible welding that they have done to this, and they burned right through it. So I'm gonna have to do some gap welding, fill those holes. I'm gonna grind all those nasty welds down. And we also decided to keep this guy for structure. You know, I just thought whatever, just keep it. Gives the bike character, I suppose. I'm gonna kind of ground these ends down into an angle so it kind of moves into the bike front end there instead of just being chopped off. Anyways, I'm gonna get to work on that and I'll update you soon. All right, after quite a bit of work, Vaporust, oil, these rims are looking really nice. The reverse side is looking really good as well. I think I'm at a point where I'm wanting to be done with these rims. I'm gonna call it good. So I'm gonna put some rubber conditioner on here to bring these tires around, maybe a little bit of tire shine that does similar. But yeah, these look really nice, so that's great. Well, I'm not even done working on the front forks, but I went ahead and I was bored, so I just kind of threw it all back together to see how it looked. This is such a cool mini bike. Yeah, it's just a really neat bike. Looks great. Yeah, so I'm gonna keep working. Paint has been ordered. So after I get front forks done and prep the frame for paint, that will be what's next. So stay tuned for that, because that's coming up real quick. So yeah, I'm gonna finish these front forks. I'll show you how those come out, and then the next step will be paint. So yeah. All right, so it's actually been like a month since I last worked on this thing, at least in this video. Anyways, front forks are done. They look great. Yeah, they look great. Rest of the bike is also pretty much done, and I just need to get some of the surface rust that grew on it while it was sitting off. Like, it just kind of rubs off with my thumb. Anyways, Yeah, I'm gonna do some finishing touches on it, and then I need to pick up some sort of primer for it, preferably like a gloss primer, because this is the paint I'm using, Rust, I don't know how to say it, Rust-Oleum. We'll just call it that, Rust-Oleum. Custom premium chrome paint, colored chrome, blue chrome. I think they use the word chrome enough. Anyways, I don't know, looks pretty. I paid way too much money for it, and I don't know if it'll even suit this bike well, but that's what I got, and there's no turning back now. So basically I need to finish up some basic stuff. Like, I'm not quite satisfied with how all this looks. Need to sand it down a little finer, get this rust off. There's still some like paint and stuff right there that I can take off. Need to grind that weld down. Holy crap, missed that. But yeah, a couple basic things, and I need to figure out what to do with this because I still haven't decided, and I've been procrastinating deciding what to do. I don't know, I hate to get rid of it because it's cool, but I have a feeling what I'm gonna do is just gonna chop this metal piece off that will rub on the tire, clean up the rest of it, and then grind that weld down and just leave it as is, because I don't want it to grind on the tire in any way, because I've already mentioned it probably a million times before, but these tires are irreplaceable. Can't find them anywhere on the internet. Nobody makes 7-inch tires except apparently Pirelli did in the well, 70s and 80s when this bike was around, and then they just abruptly stopped making them and they're obsolete. And no obtainium. Can't find them. So yeah, that's fun. Anyways, yeah, bike looks good. I am going to take the tires and wheels off, do my finishing touches, and then I'll start primering it as soon as I get some primer. So yeah, that's cool. Meet you there. All right, so once again, we're down to the bare frame and bare front forks. I've got it cleaned up. Everything is how I want it. I've got the brake how I want it, and basically I am going to hang them up in the garage here with some wire, and I'm going to prep them with some prep all, and then we will get to putting on our primers. So yeah. All right, sorry for the camera glare. It's night out, but the frames are hung and they're prepped. So I got the paint here. This is what I'm using for primer. I'm gonna give it a shake and then I'll start painting. All right, here we go. Primer, baby. Oh shoot, why don't it work? Hold up. What the heck? That's one of these weird nozzles. Oh, there we go. All right. Well, I'm going to keep at this for a while until it's all coated, and I'll show you the finished result. Alright, so I know that I haven't been very good about documenting the priming so far, but I have finished priming it. I have used plenty, and I have done, I don't know, 3-4 coats, and it looks great. Yeah, everything looks good. Over here, it's been sitting outside overnight, so something dripped on it, but I will clean that off. Other than that though, it looks phenomenal, and with that I believe that it's time to actually get to painting. So I've got the stuff over here. I've got some prep all, and I'm gonna clean the whole thing with the prep all and paper towels, and then I will get to actually painting. So yeah, sweet. All right, we got it all prepped and ready. Dad over here has got the paint, and we've only got one can because it's like $20 for a small can. So I'm gonna let Dad try to start here, and he's got quite a bit more painting experience than I do, so he's gonna try to be a little more conservative with the paint, and I'll let him start painting here.
So the key is just light coats to start. First coat's light, and you get heavier as you go.
All right.
Just want to lay some paint down.
Very nice color.
Guess that'll be under the seat anyway, right?
Yeah. So probably save it. Try to paint the bigger areas that are going to get more attention right now, and then if we have leftover paint, we can do the areas like right here under the seat. But yeah, for now we're just focusing on getting the main traffic areas covered the best, as in the front. And yeah, look at that brilliant blue. Alright, well, we're gonna keep painting here, and I'll give you updates here in a bit. Alright, we've got a very light first coat on. It's already looking phenomenal. So we're gonna move on to doing the front forks, and I'll give you an update on those in a sec. Well, second coat is going on, and it is just, the paint is just stunning. You can't quite see it in this light. It's kind of overcast and a little cloudy today, but you can still see the metallic starting to come through. It's a lot better in person. Yeah, it looks really nice though. All right, we hit the handlebars of the second coat as well, and they look just stunning. We're gonna try for a third coat. Not sure how much is left in the can, but we've done enough. Like, it looks great. Obviously, we didn't quite go as heavy on the spots like the engine mount or the bottom, or I don't know if you can see it on camera, but the handle grip spots are a little lighter because there's going to be stuff covering them up. So there's no reason to waste paint on that. But yeah, other than that, it looks great. There is one spot here. There's some wrinkles. Not sure what happened there. But that's all right. The engine will be looming over that spot, so you won't even be able to see those wrinkles once we get it all together anyways. So it's all good. Yeah, we're gonna keep working and just let it dry and be finished, I guess, because it looks just great. Phenomenal. All right, well, we got 3 coats on each one, and really it looks honestly magnificent in my opinion. There is some touch up we're gonna have to do, a couple spots on each that ended up wrinkling. You can see some wrinkling there, and that's the worst spot by far, which really isn't that bad. And I think there's one spot on the handlebars right there, but if it'll focus there. Which this doesn't matter. I'm just gonna leave it because I'm gonna put a fender on literally right there. So that does not matter at all. But yeah, everything looks great. No wrinkling really where it matters besides that one spot on the very front of the frame. Yeah, it looks great. It'll look even better when we get it out in the light. Yeah, that's the only spot that has bad wrinkling. We're just gonna let it dry and then sand it and prep it and respray. So yeah, well, I guess we just let it dry overnight or something. So yeah, sweet. I will meet you there. So while these are drying, I've also gone ahead and painted my exhaust header. As you can see, this is kind of what it's going to look like when it's finished, this matte black, if it'll focus. It's starting to dry. I use this high heat ceramic coating, gas and oil resistant, no peel promise, adhesion guarantee. It's just header ceramic coating, I guess, and it was pretty cheap, and it's gonna look great. Yeah, it's already drying, and I like how it's gonna turn out over the old rusty headers. So yeah, I'm doing some touch-up paint on the engine, making it look real nice, and yeah, after that dries, like I said, I'll do touch-up paint tomorrow, and then we can get to reassembling, I suppose. All right, sweet. I wanted to just give you an update on this. Ooh, that exhaust header looks nice. It's so perfect now. I went ahead and painted this hanger for the header. It's drying as well, and both bolts. So yeah, that's going well. Like I said, just keep doing touch-up and whatnot for the engine. So, yep. All right, it is the next day. I have sanded down the spots that had wrinkles, and I'm just gonna quick go over them with some paint and hope it turns out well. So, yep, I'll show you how it turns out. All right, I'm here in the backyard now, and I've got this engine cover scuffed up and prepped, and I have some tape on there, and I'm gonna go ahead and put some paint on it and try to get it looking real nice. So yeah, I'm gonna do that real quick. Just some black, just like other parts of the engine. And I didn't really plan on completely repainting this. I planned on just doing touch-up, and then I just kind of was like, well, I might as well just do the whole thing. So here I am. I'll show you the end product here in a second. All right, there you go. That is how it looks after some spray painting. I just finished painting it, so obviously it's not even close to dry. Looks good. So yeah, there's the parts over there. They are dry now. I did my touch-up, and touch-up's dry. So sometime tomorrow I can get to doing full reassembly. Unfortunately for you guys though, in this video I am just doing the frame. This is episode 1. I just did the frame. I cleaned the frame, and I sanded it down to bare metal, and I fixed all of the imperfections and issues other people had caused. And then this is episode 1. Then in episode 2, which is coming out very shortly, or has, depending on when you're watching this video, it goes over all of the drivetrain, engine stuff, clutch stuff. Then final episode 3, is going to be where I do full reassembly. So at the end of this video, basically, I'm just going to show the frame fully painted and kind of put back together. I'm not going to show full reassembly in this video. So like I said, chunk it into 3 parts. We've got cleaning, sanding, welding, painting the frame, episode 1. Episode 2 is all the drivetrain stuff, engine, transmission, wheels and tires, chain. Episode 3 is the full completion reassembly. So go check out episode 3 when it comes out. That will be awesome. I'm sure that'll be the most viewed video out of these series. This series, yeah. But anyways, there you go. All right, I'm gonna do a quick before and after here with the sprocket. There's before, and there's after. It's not perfect, but it looks a whole lot better. There's some oil on it to keep it from rusting, and I think it looks great. So yeah, there you go. Well, folks, with that, we are back in the same spot, my front yard, that we were a couple months ago when this whole project started. And the mini bike looks many, many times better. It is shiny, It looks phenomenal. And it rolls a whole lot better. Just looks great. Everything looks new almost. I mean, it just turned out phenomenally. It's amazing. This knob up here that holds the front forks on, you can bolt them off. Shined up great. Front fender cleaned up amazingly. So did the wheels and, well, obviously the rest of the frame. So yeah, there you go. That is the full restoration of the frame and wheels and such of this, well, I believe it's a 1970 Fantic Motors TX3 Bronco mini bike. This is episode 1. In this episode, basically, we just completely refurbished the frame, made it look beautiful. Go check out episode 2, where I do all the drivetrain work and get it riding, but not looking great. Then, episode 3 that will come out later on is the full reassembly of this mini bike with the paint. And it's gonna be awesome. So go check out all those other videos. For now, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace.